Good day, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on internship and graduate jobs recruitment. Your career path to career success. My name is John Omoti. I'm a banker by profession, and I'm delighted to be your host for today's webinar. As young professionals stepping into the job market can be an exciting and a challenging one at that. Internship and graduate roles are critical stepping stones that not only build experience, but also open doors on long-term career success. Today, we have the rare privilege to listen to two industry experts, recruiters, and a testimonial from one of our recent graduates who will share her valuable insights and practical tips and real-life experiences to help navigate your journey with confidence. During this session, we will cover essential topics such as how to secure the right internship or graduate roles, building your CV and maintaining your strong online presence, building your networking and also personal branding, succeeding in interviews and assessment, and many more. We want this webinar to be as interactive as possible. So once you get to the Q&A session, feel free to put your questions on the chat. And I also want you to put your phones or your laptops or wherever you're watching this webinar from on mute, just to avoid kind of distractions. It's a hope that at the end of today, you'll feel more empowered, more informed, and ready to take on the next step in your careers. So without any further ado, please allow me to introduce the first speaker. Her name is Joyce Oyebanjo. She's a graduate placement manager at University of East London. So I would like her to give an overview of herself, her role, and what she does, and she goes on to the presentation. Joyce, over to you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Joyce Oyebanjo. I'm an MSc Placements Manager, Postgraduate Placements Manager at University of East London. I've been in this role for, say, 5 years, over 5 years actually, and I have experience of working in the support industry. So I've worked as a support officer in housing, and I've also worked at University of Greenwich. So it's a lot of experience in supporting students into placements, but also guiding them the right way in getting the jobs that they want, both adult education at GSM. Okay, and I also did working with younger candidates, if you like, but I'll tell you a bit more later on.
Maybe Monica can introduce herself, then we could go back to Joyce for the presentation. Monica?
Yes, of course. Hello, everyone. I'm Monica. I work as a talent acquisition specialist within the University of East London. I've been in recruitment for over 15 years. I have resourced talents from different levels, from early careers up to C-level, board level. So very, very keen on sharing my experience with graduate placements and hoping that you'll get a lot out of this session by the end of it.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Joyce, you can start sharing your screen if you want to, yeah.
Brilliant. You'll have to bear with me. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Yeah, okay, just bear with me. I'm used to Teams.
Not yet.
Yeah, we can see your screen now.
What? Brilliant. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm going to start with an introduction of what we're going to do, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and then we're going to launch straight into the presentation. So as it says on here, finding internships, job opportunities, part-time jobs, whatever it is that you're doing, is not easy. So it's not going to be right for me or anyone to say to you that, oh, just do this, do that, and then you will get the job. No, that is not the situation. But what I'm trying to say to you here is that it's not easy, but all we can give you are tips about how you can make it easier. So everything that we're going to do today is going to help you in terms of sourcing for work effectively, be it an internship, a full-time job, or a part-time role. Right, brilliant. A bit about me, because I don't want you to just go away from this and say that, oh, someone came and spoke and her name was Joyce and that was all. So I'm going to tell you a bit about myself. I was born a few decades ago. I reserve the right, most women don't like telling you how old they are. So a few decades ago, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, or maybe something more than that. Okay. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and I'm a grandmother. Okay. I have a degree in archaeology, which I got a while ago. And then I did something else in oil and gas management, because at that point I was thinking that, okay, I want to do something a little bit engineering. I want to do something a bit more contemporary. Then I have an international a degree, an MSc in International Relations and Strategic Studies, because at that point in my life, I thought I was going to work in the diplomatic service. And then I have an MSc in Positive Psychology and Coaching Psychology, which is the best, in my opinion, that I've done so far, because that helps me in the current job that I am. Later on, when we get talking, I will explain to you how whatever you've studied actually helps you in growing in whatever career you go into. And currently, I manage a fantastic team of 14. I hope I have the time. If I don't have the time, at some other time or whenever, if any one of you link up with me on LinkedIn, I will explain to you how working effectively in a team can actually determine your success at your job. But then that's a bit about me, and I hope after this you do remember me. So let's have a little bit of ice breaking. I like interaction. I teach at the university. I like speaking with my students. I like people, coming back to me. And that's why I always have an ice-breaking session with people. So I know that most of you are probably on mute, but I will tell you the importance of ice-breaking, and also the importance of you actually going out there and having something to say. So, when you go somewhere, when you go for an interview, for example, a lot of us have it in our heads that, oh, I'm going to answer the questions. So if they ask me, what did I eat this morning? I'll tell them bread and egg. Or if they ask you something like, oh, what's the weather out there? It's cold or it's hot. There's a lot more to life than you giving statical answers. That is one-on-one. There's a lot more to that. So I'm going to ask you a nice breaking question now, and that's supposed to make you interactive with me. Okay? So if I ask any one of you right now that what is the capital of Nigeria, what would you say? You can drop that in the chat. I can't see the chat, by the way. John, can you see the chat? Okay. Has anyone put in there the capital of Nigeria?
Yeah, yes, Abuja, there's Lagos.
Someone has said Lagos. Yeah?
Abuja seems to be tipping it, yeah.
Okay. A lot of people are ticking Abuja. Okay, and
Mhm.
that is the situation. You see, a lot of us, we're used to doing certain things, we're used to saying certain things, believing certain things so much that we're not conscious of what's around us. It's important for us to be informed. It's important for us to know what's going on beyond our boxes, beyond where we live, what we do, what we work. So it's important for you to be very much informed, to know what's going on around you. The capital of Nigeria, as far as I know, is Abuja. Yes, a long time ago, it used to be Lagos. You will find how that is important when you go for an interview, for example, at the Foreign Office. They pick on things they expect you to know. So please let us try and be informed in what we do. If I ask you, for example, one of the ice-breaking questions, because I have only 30 minutes, I gather. Okay, one other question I want to ask you. For those of you who know anything about football, what is the most popular football club in the world? Most popular football club. John, can you see anything?
Yeah, there is Chelsea, there's Barcelona, there's Manchester United. Someone said it's subjective how popular, how
I like that.
yeah, how popular define this. Yes, so I'm seeing a lot of Real Madrid as well.
Okay.
There's a lot of Man U supporters somewhere there themselves. Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. That's from people who at least know something about football. Okay, when you go to a country that is football crazy, you have to learn to know what they say about it. If you're applying for a job in India, for example, you have to know who the cricketers are, because that is the predominant sport in that place. So all I'm trying to say at this point, and I'm going to round up an ice breaking, is please try as much as possible Then be aware of what is going on around you. Very important. In answer to that question, I'm going to go Real Madrid is the most popular football club. It doesn't mean that they win the league all the time, but in terms of money and everything, they are the most popular football club. The football club I support, by the way, is Arsenal. And I haven't heard anybody put Arsenal down. Did they, John? No?
No.
Off. Well, we're the best football club. Anyway, let's move on. So, right. We're going to talk about, in the next few slides, we're going to talk about what is an internship. What are the benefits? What are the ways for you to source an internship? And what are the useful tips that I can give you today for you to get that? Okay. You're going to find that my slides do not cover exactly everything, but I'm going to cover everything in there. Right. So when you look at this picture, ladies and gentlemen, what does it tell you? What I'm trying to say here is that when you're going out to look for a job, the kind of jobs that you will get out there are either you work with the government. So you work in local authority, you work with the NHS. This is in England, by the way. You will do all of those things. Or you work in academia. You can become Dr. Joyce Oyebanjo. You can become Professor Oyebanjo. Okay. Or you work in the private sector. And the private sector covers everything. You can work in the in the telecommunications industry. You can work in anything. You can work in the plumbing industry. You can be the head of anything, but that would be private work. So those are the kind of things usually that people work in. You find that if you're working with somebody, whatever, then that would be the private sector. If it's a university, if it's a school or anything, that more or less is academia. And anything else will probably be local authority. So you need to find your niche. Where exactly do you think you are rowing your boat towards? You cannot, if someone asks you, what do you plan to do? And you go like, any job at all. No. Settle down and find exactly where you find. I love support. I love supporting people, working with them along the way, and making sure I have an outcome at the end of the day. That's why I work in academia. So one of the questions you need to ask yourself is, where exactly do I want to work? Don't just go out there and do up your CV and then spray them around like, oh, I've already applied to 100 places. And if I go like, what kind of places have you applied to? What did you study? And then, I don't know, I just send them out to everybody with a cover letter. You can't do that because people sweep CVs aside. Research says that the quickest any employer looks at your CV is only 8 seconds. So they look at the first page, they check whether or not what your profile says, what it says here, what it says, and there and then they make up their mind whether or not to go with you. So have your niche, make up your mind what you're good at, and then make sure you channel yourself towards that. That's what the important thing is. Okay. The other thing I want to say to you is around tap into personal connections. Don't ever underestimate the people around you. Well, Monica works in acquisition. That's not what I want to do. Maybe no, she can't be of any use to me. You don't know who will be of use to you. Sometimes you meet people at parties and you just talk with them and you find out that, you know what, I might want to do something like that. Is there any opening in your company? Or how do I actually log into your company to find out what's going on there? There's family, there's professors, there's alumni if you've been to university before. A lot of us don't tap into the alumni factor. Most of the alumni at UAL, at least I can talk about them, most of them are those that come back to become mentors. They come back and tell us that, oh, I have this job and this is where I work. And so I tap into that to get placements for other students from them. Have you ever wondered about the importance of career fairs? Career fairs are gold. The next one happening is in Shepherd's Westfield, and you have to register to go to it. When Monica is speaking, I'll probably drop that link into, go onto the job fairs. They're for graduates, they're for alumni. And you will find a lot of companies telling you what kind of jobs they have. So don't ever underestimate the importance of career fairs and engage with recruiters directly. Because when you go into the career fair, you will meet them there. And they'll be there advertising their roles. Don't think that, oh, they wouldn't take me. I've been out of work for so long. Or they don't want, don't ever rule yourself out. You are the best person for any job. So say that to yourself and go for it when you go. Then join professional groups. Very important for you to do that, especially on LinkedIn. Right now, I'd like to believe that most of you should be on LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, go and register now. And when you go onto LinkedIn, there are professional groups. For example, if you're an engineer and you don't have a job, you should go onto LinkedIn, register, tell them about yourself, and then follow all industry-specific employers. So you make sure that you register with SCS, you make sure that you register with all those big companies that are engineering companies. You find that they advertise roles. At UEL, our talent acquisition officers are the ones that go out there and they advertise roles. When I have a job going in my department, I advertise it on LinkedIn. If you're not on, you wouldn't see it. Quest to follow people. Very important that you look at that. And so when you do that, you've positioned yourself already. You've put yourself out there. I don't do much of social media, but I do a lot of LinkedIn because that's a professional base. So very important for you to make sure that you do that. Okay. The other thing to say is use career portals. Many universities have exclusive job boards. Again, I'll give you an example of University of Plymouth and also UEL, University of East London. So if you go into jobs at UEL, you'll find them there. They have an option that says, do you want us to alert you to any jobs? Make sure you click that. When a new job comes out, you will find it straight in your mailbox. Jobs.co.uk. That is also, there are a lot of links where you can actually find jobs. I'll get to a slide. I'll ask John to drop a lot more into the chat about how you can find internships and jobs. Okay, meet career advisors. Career advisors are usually at fairs. They always have a dedicated space for them at fairs. So make sure you get that and get personalized job search advice. So what does that mean? That means that if you're an alumni, you've already left university, look for the career section. They have an alumni section. If you're currently still a student, whatever kind of student you are, they always have careers. So make sure you tap into the career service to get something. And now also apply for on-campus opportunities. So at UEL, for example, we have a company called Randstad. They manage all of our jobs, part-time jobs. It's always good for you to get part-time jobs in the industry that you are, so that when you're going for a placement, it doesn't become a culture shock for you. So when you go out, when you take, for example, if you're doing, let's say you're doing hotel management at the master's level, when you're looking for work, or even if you're doing it undergraduate level, when you're looking for work, one of the things you want to do is to make sure you actually go into that as on a part-time basis. So when you have to do an internship, you already have experience. You're working in it. So make sure that anything that you do, assistantships, research roles, is related to what you studied in university. That's what will help out at the end of the day. Okay. You're going to have an opportunity to ask questions at the end of this. So if it appears like I'm rushing through it, I'm just trying as much as possible to make sure that I keep to my time. Popular platforms, again, are Indeed, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Handshake, and internships.com. Okay. Company websites, I said that earlier on. Make sure you log into company websites and get them to alert you to new jobs that come up. You can get that done on LinkedIn, by the way, without you even paying. So they have a premium service. Don't let them sell that to you. But just make sure that you take advantage of your 5 in-mail service. So you can do an in-mail where you can send direct messages to people, only 5 of them per month for free. So make good use of those. Okay. And like I said, get notified about new opportunities, set up those alerts. John, if you have any kind of job search boards, if you can please put them in the chat, that would be very helpful at this point. Okay.
Yeah, I just done that now. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Right. I said optimize your LinkedIn profile. If you go and you look at my LinkedIn, so if you enter Joyce Oyebanjo into LinkedIn, you'll find that I optimized it in the sense that I put in everything I'm doing up to the, to present. A lot of people have a LinkedIn profile and it's just their name and nothing else. make sure you optimize it, highlight skills. And I'll tell you one other thing you find on LinkedIn. You get free jobs. You get free training on LinkedIn. A lot of training. Most of the Excel skills that I have today, I got them on LinkedIn. Free. So look out for training, and they will signpost you to them. And you know what it is? Once you get into one training, you will see, as you usually would see on the email trail, a lot of other trainings that you can do. And then all you need to do is, once you get the certification in it, you will go into your LinkedIn profile and you will now say that you are Azure qualified, you are different kind of things qualified. That is attractive to employers. I have a good number of my students who were picked from LinkedIn. So they were handpicked from LinkedIn because people saw their profile and thought like, you know what, I think this will suit what I'm looking for. So please try to do that. Engage with the content. Whenever you're on LinkedIn, like posts. You see something that has to do with your job, like them. I remember meeting someone pretty recently, one professor at university. And I'm like, hi, how are you? This and that. And we said hi to each other. I said, my name is Joyce Oyebanjo. You know what she said? She said, oh, you're the one that always likes my posts. I didn't even know that she noticed me. So you'd be surprised. Just go on, tell yourself every day that I'll be on there and I will like 10 posts. People will notice you. And if you put on there looking for opportunity, because there's an icon that LinkedIn does, you can actually say looking for work on it. People will pick you up from there. I've had a number of people who have headhunted me in my internal post who have said, oh, we have a post here. Would you like to do it? There was one I couldn't do. I liked it. But guess where it was? It was in Aberdeen. See, I will have to think of my husband, my children, my grandchildren, like before I shift off to Aberdeen. But you know what? Many more came in. There was another university that was asking me, would you come and work with us? But then I think of the wonderful people that I work with and my team, and I'm thinking like, I'm not moving yet. So put yourself out there, especially on LinkedIn. It is a professional platform. It's not Facebook. It's not Instagram. And it's just about the best thing that you could do if you're looking for work. Okay. Moving on quickly, follow companies and recruiters especially beyond companies. So please try to do that. And right. Email potential employers. I'm talking here about speculative applications. I think Monica's covering a bit of that. But please make sure that when you apply for any role, make yourself clear. Be very succinct. Don't write any long history. Nobody reads them. I promise you. From the perspective of a shortlister and someone who interviews people, nobody reads 10 million words. But all we look for is that you engage with the STAR process. And I'm sure you'll probably hear it from Monica what the STAR process is. So don't just, if they say to you when you're writing your CV and your cover letter, and they say to you, we want someone who has experience in customer service. You don't then answer an application form and say, I have experience in customer service. No. You say, I have extensive experience in customer service. For example, then you list the situation. The S in the STAR is the situation. For example, I used to work in ASDA, right? I used to work in ASDA in the whatever section. So you describe that situation. And then you mention the task. So what happened? Okay, you worked in ASDA. What's the big deal? Then you say to them that I was in charge of doing this and that. And then one day someone came in and they said they wanted the glasses that we don't supply. That is the task. That is the issue at hand. So what action did you take? Since you've told us this story now, that, okay, I work at ASDA and somebody came in and they were looking for something. That's the task. So what's the action that I took? I found out that we didn't have it in stock. So I got in touch. I got on the phone and I got in touch with that other store to try to find it. And then they gave me a date when it would be ready. And I told the customer that this is when it will be ready. So the other R at the end of the STAR is what was the result of that? The result of it was that the customer was able to get what they wanted. They came in on the third day and the article was waiting for them. They collected it and they were very happy. Simple. So in that measure, you've been able to demonstrate that you have the skills. You told them the situation that arose. You told them the task, the question that was at hand. You told them how you actioned it. and then you told them the result of it. That is very crucial. Result and reflective. So be very, very careful in how you answer people, even at interviews. You go for an interview, they say to you, oh, what experience do you have of this? Don't just say, I have experience of this and that because I worked in Aldi and Asda. That doesn't answer their question. But when you break it down for them, you're on the right path. Okay? Am I in the right place? Sign up with recruiters. I said that. Apply for a structured internship programs. So many large companies, they offer formal internships. The advantage of having an internship is that you have the foot in. You already have a leg through the door. So my son, before he graduated, he's graduating this April. That's the last one. So with him, what he had done was he had applied to this job search thing to Randstad. And so they had some remote jobs, and some of them have remote jobs. You can do remote jobs if you're still in university. And he was working in a particular department, the compliance department, and they would send him work and, they trained him and everything. So he was doing a lot of that. That acted like a formal internship. Now, coming on to when university is ending, he's able to say when he fills out an application form that I have this experience and that experience, and I've worked with this and I've worked with that, because he gathered that along the way in his part-time jobs, which is why it's important for you to be focused. So if you're applying for a role, make sure that your part-time job, as much as possible, has to do with what you eventually want to go forward and ask for a placement in. Because you cannot go and tell somebody, if you're working in KFC, for example, and you're cutting chicken up, and then you go for a job that says they're looking for something in human resources, you're not going to be able to say that you've worked in a university environment. So make sure whatever you do links to whatever you want to do at the end of the day. Okay? Government and non-profit programs, I've said that, local government, and also volunteering, which is crucial. I hope I have that somewhere right on this slide. Volunteering is also a great way for you to get into an internship. If you go somewhere and you volunteer once a week for 3 months, they're not going to say that you come in once a week. When they write a reference for you, they're going to say that you've done it for 3 months and you only go in once a week. So if it's a case of you want to be a teacher and you do volunteering work, even if it's only for 5 hours in a week, when you get a reference, they will say to them that you have worked in that capacity for 3 months, for 5 months, for however long you've done it. Volunteering is a great way to get experience and referrals while contributing to a course at the same time. Okay? And the long one, the last one I would say to you, is entrepreneurship. Don't ever underestimate or discount what you know how to do best. If you happen to be somebody who knows how to do hair, to braid hair, use that to your advantage. Let that be your side hustle. We all have side hustles. I do have a side hustle. So make sure as much as possible that you have something on the side, if it's writing or whatever, that you can use, that you can call on whenever you need something else beyond the job that you're looking for. I think I might have welcomed to the end of this. Stay persistent. These are the normal ones. Don't give up. Keep looking. When you do get there, you will get more than one job at once. As the lady that's going to come and give us a testimonial will attest to. That only happens through persistence. Sheer persistence. Keep applying and improving your applications, and never be afraid to ask for feedback. Feedback is very important. I interviewed someone recently, brilliant interview and everything. The only thing that person did not have was experience. And that's why we took someone else over them. But the point I'm trying to make to you is go back and ask for feedback. Insist that you want to speak to the chair of the panel and let them find out for you and tell you why you did not get the role, and then use it to improve on the next one. So if someone says to you, you don't have experience in that job, that's why we didn't take you, look for where you can volunteer. And then apply for something like that again and say, I have 6 months experience of doing this. I have 3 months experience of doing this. That always looks better than you not having experience at all. And also be very gracious when you do these things. Don't go with an attitude. Well, can you tell me why I didn't get it? Why didn't I get it? I did all my homework. Nobody likes anyone with attitude. But you know what? With humility, and you say thank you notes, it's fine. Thank you very much. Can you please give me feedback so I can improve for the future? People will remember you. I've got someone in my head till tomorrow. That same person, by the way, who said to me that, can I please give them feedback? I gave them feedback. And he said, is there anything else I need to know so that when I go for another job of this kind, I will know how to present myself? And I said to them, when next you have to fill an application form out, please come to me. I'll support you. On LinkedIn, this conversation was. And keep learning. Nobody ever stops learning. I read out to you what I'd done there. But right now, I'm thinking of learning the more. There is no end to learning. There's no age barrier to learning, especially in this AI route that we are. With everything that we're doing now, there's so much more that you have to learn how to do things. You have to shadow people. You have to be prepared to be on top, on par. If you don't know what's going on, you're left behind. So very important for you to do that and increase your certifications. I've come to the end of my presentation. This is my LinkedIn profile. So if you scan that, then you will definitely get straight onto my page. You can ask me questions. Ask me questions when John comes on to open the floor, but also in mail, you can also do the same. It's been a pleasure speaking to you all. I hope I see you all again. And thank you very much for your time. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Thank you, Joyce, for that brilliant presentation. Just give us, so we're going to have a session, a more practical session where we're going to do like an interview for one of our, some of you might be new to this group, but we have this group on WhatsApp. It's called Early Careers, Recent Careers Forum. Let me get the right name. I'm going to try and share the link of that group on the chat as well. I think it'd be good for people to join. It's UK Recent Graduates Early Career Forum, where we share opportunities. I think it was as a result of questions. I've looked at many young people's CVs from that forum, and many people say, "Oh, they have been applying for a long time, and they've not been get a job." And I said, "Let me look at the CV." And a lot of the time, the CV is not really relevant. They're looking for roles in the corporate world, and the only internship or work experience they've had maybe in McDonald's or in some fishery shop, and it didn't really help your CV. That's why we emphasize the importance of doing internship, even if it's an unpaid internship. As long as it's even if it's a virtual internship, as long as it's a career, it's a proper corporate sector, I will encourage you to do. You can stop sharing your screen, Joyce. I think we can. Let me see if you can stop. You can stop sharing your screen. Yeah, because we can see your screen. Yes. You can, I think, go to the share. You can stop sharing your screen. Let me see if I can stop it myself. I don't think I can. Okay, let me see. Okay, can I do that? Can you stop sharing? Okay, I think I can still see your screen. So go to share, or besides share, you see where it says stop there. Then you can stop sharing your screen. I'm not sure if I can. Okay, yes, now you've done that. So, on this note, I want to invite colleague, someone who I know. Her name is Mina, and Mina, you here? You can put on your
Hi,
camera so
John.
we can
Yeah.
see. Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. So Mina is also one of the members of the forum of the our WhatsApp group. She reached out to me a few times, and in terms of how to put her CV in order and stuff like that. And it was a couple of weeks later, and she told me that she got not one job, but got two jobs for that matter. So I felt that it'd be good to have her on board to share her testimonial on, just hear some tips from her, how she was able to scale through. So I don't have some questions I want to put across to Mina. So could you start by introducing yourself, a bit about your background, your education, and career interests?
So hi everybody. My name is Meena Chand, and I'm a recent graduate from the University of Wolverhampton. So I'm also, I was also searching like you, the internship job role, but somehow, fortunately, I landed into jobs. So basically, if you talk about my hobbies, then I like traveling and I love coding. I love talking with the peoples, and yes, I love, social medias too. Yeah.
Okay. So how did you manage to secure two jobs? People are looking for one, but you got two at this by the same time. How did you pull that off?
So actually, I focused on the clarity and consistency in my job search. The basically what I did was like I tailored my CV, So I applied for the 40 companies in total, and I got responses from the 12, and I was finalized in five, and I got I secured two roles, two job companies, and so the cover letters and every role highlighting both technical skills, especially in the technical, you all know the MERN, mainframes, and as well as the leadership experience. So I kept learning continuously through the certification like IBM Jet Explores and the real life projects. Apart from that, networking played a vital role.
Mm.
And yes, so attending conferences, volunteering, taking part in hackathons, So I want to give example. I got a scholarship to attend the IBM GSE UK conference, and I won the global platform of the CTF competitions, and my LinkedIn profile was highlighted from that.
Mm.
And I participated in many other competition won, and recently I won the award in Oxford University Student Award in Ashmoleum Museums. How it happened is like, so it is all about the consistency, hard work, networking, and of course we should have a mentors in life. So I applied
Fantastic.
strategically, not just randomly, and made
Mm.
sure each application reflected my values and the strength.
Mm. Mm. Thank you. You mentioned that there are some key factors in terms of your job search, like networking, putting yourself out there, your improving your branding on LinkedIn. It's very important. I've looked at people's profile on LinkedIn. It's not good at all, and a lot of people need to improve the quality of their LinkedIn profile. I'm going to share after this some tips on how to optimize your LinkedIn profile after this conversation. I think you take note of that. I think that will help your case. You just mentioned a few things about some competitions as well, which you won. Congratulations on those ones. And those are things you do. Put them on LinkedIn. It improves your branding, your personal branding. It goes a long, long way because if a recruiter looks at the CV, the next place they'll go and look at LinkedIn and see if they can find this person on LinkedIn. So it's very important that your LinkedIn is properly optimized, so that it sells yourself. Because if you're not there, it's your CV or your LinkedIn itself that will sell you. It goes a long way. So another question is, did you face any challenges? You talked about 50 roles you applied for. Well, before then, what are the challenges or setbacks that you face? Many people have been applying for hundreds and thousands of jobs, and there has been no progress. No, it's just by saying no and rejection upon rejections. Did you face such rejections? How did you overcome them?
Yeah, so many rejections, actually, rejection from the roles I really wanted, and I
Mm.
was depressed because of that. Then somehow I went to the many conferences and the mentorship program, and I learned it's not about me actually. Let's not take the things personally. So
Mm.
there was a time self doubt came, comparing myself with others who had more experiences, right? And of course, it is for sure, especially in the UK, you can find God in the stone, but it's very hard to find a job role. But if we are strategic things, if you somehow learn how to go ahead strategically, then it makes a difference. So
Mm.
balancing job application with the full-time, part-time roles, and of course I do practice spirituality. So there were lots of challenges and setbacks, but
Mm.
I over I overcome them through the routine support system and faith. That's it.
Mm. Yeah. Well done. I'm glad you finally overcome them. You overcame them. So, what advice would you give to other young graduates, interns or graduates who are trying to break into this first job? What advice do you think you're going to give to them?
Yeah, as Joyce also already mentioned, we have to be like niche, so the thing is like, know yourself first. What are your values? Why? That's shape your directions. And of course, be visible. Go to the events, talk with the people. You have to be online. Your LinkedIn should be good somehow, always watching. So I want to give one example, because I recently got 2 jobs, and now I'm planning to go to the NHS. But there is a 1.5 months, because the document procedures, it will take time. So what I will do in 1.5 months? But fortunately, because of my LinkedIn presence, I got a 1.5 freelancing job as a coding through LinkedIn, the UK company. So the thing is, like, we have to be visible. So whatever, don't send the CV randomly. You have to tell her. So when I applied for the job, it really took me 3-4 hours for one company. And
So you have
when
to tailor your CV to
yeah,
suit some particular roles, right? You didn't just apply blankly like that, isn't it?
no, yeah,
Yeah, I think it goes a long way. And also the use of AI as well. You could use the likes of ChatGPT, Job Scan. And those of you who don't know Job Scan, check it out. It's a very, very good tool. It helps to you could pick on the job description and you could put in your CV. It will tell you, it will help to streamline your CV to suit that particular job description. It could give you that instruction. It's called Job Scan. You can put that on the chat, Mina, if you get that. But I'd like you to explore that. That also helps people who have started using AI to optimize their job application. They've seen significant improvement in terms of response. They are beginning to get calls for interviews. So I will encourage you as well. Don't just think because you're applying for a graduate traineeship role, you don't need to put your CV in the right way. You should do that. Otherwise, because there are loads of people applying for jobs right now. And if you don't optimize your CV, even if it's a graduate role, you'll find yourself not being called for interviews. Just to bear that in mind. Right. So thanks to Mina, and congratulations once again on your role, and I wish you all
thank you,
the
John.
best, and also for the career, and also your support and giving your testimonial.
Thank you.
On this junction, we will now invite the second speaker. Her name is Monica, and she's also a talent acquisition specialist, and she'll be giving her talk focusing mostly on the graduate and graduate recruitment. Monica?
Thank you, John. I'm going to share my screen in a minute. If you just bear with me.
While she does that, please have a look at the chat. We have shared some sites for graduate internship roles. We are going to now share more of the sites for graduate roles once she has their conversation. We're going to share a bit more tips also. So just keep your eyes on the chat forum. I will share the group link of the entry level early career forum on WhatsApp, which we currently have, so that people can join directly from the group, from the link. Still there? Are you okay now?
Yes, I am ready. Thank you. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us on this session today. It has been amazing. I mean, Joyce and Mina has literally touched on everything I was hoping to speak with today. What I will try to do, though, is emphasize on some certain aspects of the graduate placement that tends to differ from the internship program that Joyce had spoken about and Mina. So again, my name is Monica. I am the talent acquisition specialist within the University of East London. I've been in recruitment for over 15 years. I have done placements for talents across all levels, and early careers is one of the areas I specialize in. Early careers being internships and graduate placement as well. So the reason why I would put this session together really is because of the critical issue that we see with graduate job placements. With the increasing number of students that come out from university, we've noticed a trend that quite a lot of them don't possess the relevant work experience that will match the certificate they've got. And so that has created an issue with the competition within the market. So I'm hoping today we would explore the current landscape of graduate job placement as an alternative to internship and also another strong way of getting into the career of your choice. There'll also be challenges as well. So we'll talk about that as well, and also the strategies that you can follow just so that you can get into the job as well that you require. So in terms of schemes, graduate scheme versus direct entry jobs, there are different ways to get into it. The graduate scheme is a structured training program that's offered by large companies. Usually it lasts for about a year or 3 years, depending on the company, depending on what it is that you're looking to get out of it. The good thing about graduate scheme is that it rotates you across different departments. So you get an insight of what each department does. Most times with graduate scheme, you actually get the ladder process up to managerial level. So most times by the time you're done with your 3 years rotation, you're literally going to be heading a team and being a manager, which is a good plus. There's also a lot of competition with graduate schemes. So it's important that you process your application quite early. As against the direct entry jobs, which is the regular job applications everyone does, there's always regular openings, as you can imagine. Immediately you get the job, you're integrated into your role. And obviously, every company does it, both SMEs and non-corporate sectors. As against graduate scheme, that's usually by large companies, really reputable companies. But at the moment, the market and the trend is changing. And at the moment, lots of companies are also doing it. So it'd be good to do your research. I think in all these platforms, either internship or graduate, I'd recommend doing your research, highly recommend it, because that what gives you is an insight on what the market is talking about and also help you to know how you can tailor your application. So how do you know what is good for you? How do you know whether it's the graduate scheme or the direct entry role? What do you think, what way would you know what one suits you the most?
Sorry,
Graduate
Monica.
scheme.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Monica, are you sharing your screen?
Yeah, I'm
Because
sharing. Can you?
no, you haven't shared. I
Oh,
can't see your screen.
oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
No. Can anyone see a screen just in case? I'm not the one.
Oh, no.
Oh,
No. Okay.
that's odd. Okay, just a minute. Let me go. Wow, that's huge. Sorry, I'm gonna go back again and end the show and start again. Bear with me. Share my screen again.
While she does that, let me paste the group, the WhatsApp group. And just paste down the chat as well. So just go to share. You open
Yeah,
up your slides. You see that they share it.
yeah, it's showing
Let-
me. The price is not coming up. Apologies. Let me look at that. Okay,
Okay, let
right.
me. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Maybe I
Second
should
try.
share it. Then you tell me which slides. Then maybe I should share it myself. Then you tell me when you're moving from one slide to another slide.
Okay, maybe that might help. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Let's see. Right. So you see my screen now, right, everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
You see my screen? Right. Okay.
So
Good. So Monica,
if
you
we
are
go,
we're currently on screen one right now.
can we go to screen 3, please?
Yeah, we're
Thank
talking
you.
on screen. Yes.
Apologies for that, honestly. So in order to decide what scheme will work best for you, be it graduate or direct entry, you need to also think about what you want out of it. Graduate schemes are best suited for a structured learning and development style. So in other words, there'll be training, on-hand training, there'll be mentoring, there'll be coaching, as well as working on the job, which gives you a pathway to being a manager. You don't get that in direct entry. Direct entry is just suitable for those that want faster job placement and career specialization. So you get to just pick the specialization that you want to be part of. So it's just weighing back what you actually want out of it. But I would suggest to think about what you want. If you're a graduate scheme, the pay is not as high as when you're in a direct entry role. But what it does is that it provides you an absolute path for career progression, which usually is what I would recommend. If you're a recent graduate, and you believe in trying to give yourself time and space to learn on the job, mentored, and go through the process of being a manager, I would suggest you go through the graduate scheme. However, direct entry jobs will be a situation where you really want to get into the market, you really want a faster job placement, and you actually believe that you've got the right career specialization. And I think that would be the right step for you. John, can we go to the next slide, please?
Yeah.
The thing about graduate placement is that it's timed. So that then this is what this slide is about. Every application opens around August to December for most companies. It could differ, but not greatly. But usually August to December, but I would advise that you start early, a year before you want to do it. So 6 months to the time that you really want to do the graduate scheme, start looking. I'd say 6 to 12 months. Start looking, start searching, scoring the websites of the companies you really want to do the graduate scheme with. Like I said before, research is key. Make sure you're checking the companies, the roles. I think the trick is to start early, really start early. Then prepare your CV, prepare your application, use job boards, look LinkedIn. We can't overemphasize the use of LinkedIn, the importance of LinkedIn, but make sure that you give yourself enough time to apply. The key is if you start early, you start to get the best and you start to get choice. But if you leave it towards the end, you might be scrambling to get the lastminute.com kind of arrangement, which might not really work well for you. Internship and placement is usually between September and March. And then, of course, direct entry roles all through the year, all round. But usually, as you graduate, your peak time will be summer after graduation. Next slide, please, Jay.
Yeah.
So we're talking about essential skills, which is key. Employers will always highlight the difference. I mean, being in recruitment, and Joyce also mentioned this in her presentation, that there is a gap between what a candidate has in his certification and the experience that they bring into the table. Usually, the competition stands when there's a gap within those two. And hiring managers increasingly are really bringing it up as an issue to say that graduates don't have the experience to back it up. They don't have the experience to back up their certifications or their qualifications, and that's why they're not really getting the job. So how do we bridge that gap then? How do we make sure that you get that right experience that you want? How do you get the soft skills that you want? And that's all about developing yourself. Joyce mentioned that as well when she did her talk. Try as much as possible to develop yourself. Get your soft skills in place. Communications, teamwork, problem solving, adaptability. Make sure that you are on point with all these things. Use your LinkedIn training as well. That is really very helpful. But there are also so many other sources online you could use to also train yourself. But the idea is to emphasize on getting these skills up top notch. Your technical skills is also very important, but this is industry specific. Make sure you get the expertise, the digital literacy, and the analytical skills that you need to do your role. There's no end to training, there's no end to learning. You can learn from different platforms as well. But the idea is to be conscious of the fact that you need to up your skills in this level. Be commercial aware as well. You know what? Understand what your industry wants. Get yourself into it. When you start searching for graduate placement jobs, know what industry you want to do it at. Know where you want to fit in that industry as well. Know what roles that you think will align with what you need. And once you get that in the picture, it helps you to put down a very strong application. Be resilient as well. Be very resilient. And I know it's hard when you apply for things and you don't get called or you don't get any feedback, but keep at it. And I think Mina also mentioned that as well. You have to be resilient. Whatever you get out of your interview or you get out of any application, positive or negative, take it on board and try to move on, but do not let it weigh you down. Do not be so emotional about it that you don't decide to move forward or learn or get anything out of it. We go to the next slide, please.
Yes.
I'm not going to over-label everything that's been said about networking and your personal branding and LinkedIn. The only thing I'll need to say is when you are networking, in as much as you want to connect career fairs and with all your alumni, it is important that you create a strong profile for yourself. make sure that the profile on LinkedIn is strong. Don't just put it down there. Joyce touched on it, but I just want to just say that it's important because that's what we see. It's increasingly becoming very common with hiring managers to also check, even for graduate placements, people that have applied for it. And the first place they go to, obviously, is LinkedIn. If there's no profile to look, or if it's scanty, or if it's not strong enough, that doesn't work well for you. Most likely they wouldn't want to proceed with that application. So I would suggest just have that strong personal branding of yourself, not just follow, not just like, try and also create content as well on LinkedIn. Follow as much as possible, but be involved, join the relevant groups, professional groups on LinkedIn, and try to comment there, not just be part of it and just keep liking. Try and also create content as well. What that does is brings you into focus as well. So it'd be good to just share that industry related content just so that people can see that you have actually got knowledge in it. That does help because people tend to trail and look at what you've posted on LinkedIn. And it'd be good to see that there's some posts that are attributed to you as well. The idea is to also maintain that professional online presence at all. Keep it going. Don't just do it after a while, forget about it. Just keep it running, keep it going, just so that you can actually be seen. The idea is to be visible as much as possible. And even for graduate placement, it's very key because what employers want to see is people that are actually active and have a personal brand that they can identify with. Go to the next slide, please.
Yeah.
Thank you. So when you do put your application for, when you do your application for graduate placement, your CV is crucial. You have to make sure that you have a top-notch CV. We've had different talks on this platform, LikeMinds, where we've talked about CVs, we've talked about profiles. I'll try not to belabor the point, but the idea is just to let you know that it's still a big deal and it's something that you need to really, really be sure that you've got a strong CV to back up your application. So it will be the usual things, the key sections, which is your personal details, but please don't forget to put your LinkedIn profile there. I kind of emphasize how important that is. Like I said, it could be your LinkedIn profile that will set you apart from the other applicants, because that's the first place we'd always go to look at. And then we want a professional summary that's impactful. We want a professional summary that's not just churned out from ChatGPT. It has to be relatable, not a word salad. So make sure that when you put your professional summary on your CV, it's impactful. It actually does make sense. A lot of people put different words together and just think that that's the end of it. But it doesn't make sense to us when we look at it because we can't relate to what's on there. So that's why I said it has to be impactful. Your education, your degree, relevant coursework and achievement as a graduate, that would be very key. We know there may not be a lot of experience in that CV, but we would expect to see what you've done in your coursework, would expect to see what your achievements were, would expect to see what your degrees were as well. In terms of your work experience, again, it's important to put your internship, any part-time job you've had that's relevant, volunteering. I cannot overemphasize volunteering. Honestly, it's one of the best stepping you can put on your CV. With your volunteering, what we see is that you've not been idle. What we see is someone who's proactive, and what we see from your volunteering is that someone who actually wants to give back. So honestly, it will be good to put volunteering opportunities, unpaid opportunities, put it all in there. Make sure it's relevant as well, because that's what tends to count. Then your skills and certifications, put your technical and your transferable skills. In the sense of you applying for a graduate placement that might not be in your field, it's fine. If you've got transferable skills, indicate it in there. And what that would do is make us see why you need to be on that role and why you've actually put yourself for that role. Extracurricular activities, leadership roles, clubs, societies, these are all good. I'd say for this one, be a bit, well, what I would say is be a bit wise in what you put down as your extracurricular activities. Remember that it's going to be seen by a lot of people. So try to be mindful of what you put in there. I put examples there. Leadership roles, clubs, societies are very good extracurricular activities you can actually put on your CV for your job, graduate job placement. So just make sure that you follow that trail. Be mindful of what you put there. Just don't put anything that would not make you look serious or make you look professional. And the references obviously is available on request. There are some cases where you would apply for a graduate placement and they would request for references upfront, which is normal. If that's the case, just make sure that you put down the references that are verifiable don't just put references that we can't verify, but put references that when they are contacted, and also indicate if you don't want your references to be contacted before, state when you'd want that to happen. Would you want it to be, if you want your referees to be contacted, maybe after the process or in between the process or before the process, just indicate in your application for the graduate placement. And then the company would honor whatever it is you've put there. But just make sure that these referees are, first of all, verifiable, and second, they can be contactable as well. Don't put an email address that someone doesn't read or doesn't even check at all. That won't work in your favor at all. Let me go to the next slide, please.
Yeah.
So in terms of interview assessment for job placement, just on this very quickly, but I'll just highlight a few points in there. So usually for job placements for graduates, it's usually a competency-based interview. What that interview does is focus on your past experience and how they relate to the job. So make sure you have standby examples for that. Google has a lot of plethora list of competency-based questions that are very good. What I would say is begin to practice those questions, recite them, even do mock interviews with friends or families and just weigh what your answers sound like. Joyce mentioned the STAR option, which is brilliant. That's another good way of answering questions. I would recommend that any day, anytime. It just makes sure that your answers are focused and you're not trailing off on the tangent, talking about something that's completely off. Strength-based interview assesses your natural strengths and motivations. So that will probably be what questions like, what are your strengths? What is it that you like to do? Employers ask this question because they want to know exactly what makes you tick. So do think about examples that relate to things that showcase your strengths, that showcase your knowledge as well. Technical interviews are mainly for technical jobs. They're test job specific. They would actually be seeking a particular knowledge and problem solving skills. So if probably you claim to be a digital analyst and maybe the role is one that requires Microsoft Digital 365 and all that kind of complex software and platforms, you might have questions asking you directly hit on those particular skills strengths. So be sure that if you're applying for technical skills, you just brush up on your knowledge on those skills, make sure that you're able to give examples on what those skills are. And there might be tests that they will give to relate to that particular skill, just so that you can actually prove to the employer that you do have the skill that you said on your CV. Assessment centers is something that's very common with graduate job placements. They usually at different styles, but it'll be group exercises, presentations, psychometric tests, and case studies. With group exercises, it could be that you'd find yourself in a group of 5 or 6, they'll place you in a group of 5 or 6 people where you'll be asked to deliberate on a particular topic. And in that setting, it can be quite daunting and a bit intimidating, particularly if you've got like 3 or 4 people talking and they're maybe used to talking and you're probably a quiet person or a very shy person. So it's just you being mindful of the fact that when you find yourself in that kind of settings, the group settings, all you have to do is just make sure that your voice is heard. You don't have to interrupt anyone, but indicate when you want to speak that you're assertive and that you actually want to put your points across. We recently had one group exercise that we did in UL, one of our graduate placement roles. And we had a setting of about 6 graduates, and we had given them a topic to deliberate on. And we noticed there was a particular candidate just wasn't saying anything at all. And I could tell that every time she tried to put her point across, you know, she just couldn't be heard because everyone else was talking. And at some point we had to you know, pause the presentation for a bit for the candidates to get a break. And the hiring manager actually noticed she hadn't said anything. So when we regrouped and everyone came back, we had to tell everyone to wait so she could have a word to say. But we didn't have to do that, but we realized that was the only way we could get her to speak. So what I'm trying to say is just be very mindful of such settings and be sure that your voice is heard, and try as much as possible to make sure that you're ahead in amongst the number of people that was in that group. Psychometric test is becoming increasingly popular. A lot of employers are using that now. And this test can be on a variety of issues, really. But it's one way of us trying to find out whether you have or rather, employers use this to check whether you're the right cultural fit for the role. So with psychometric tests, there's no right or wrong answers. But what we want to see, what employers want to see, is whether you align with their values, their missions, and also you align with their fit, their cultural fit. But I would say for those tests, just be as sincere as possible. Remember, there's no right answer or wrong answer, but just answer sincerely, because also for your sake, you also want to be in a place where you'd be a good fit. So trying to align the answers or manipulate your answers just so you can get a particular response or a particular result probably will help you in this case. And of course, there's case studies as well. And case studies is usually a take-home assignment where we actually would give candidates topics on things to talk about, but we would say take it home and bring it back the next day, or send us or email it across the next day. Case studies is just our way of checking whether you're all sure of what's happening around you. It could be a case study on any trendy topic that's happening, and we want to just get your viewpoint on it and your ability to analyze different options or different school of thoughts, really. Another way is evaluating teamwork, communications, and leadership skills. Again, this is similar to group exercises as well, but leadership skill is something that's increasingly becoming also quite a big deal for employers as well. What I would say with leadership skill is also you being able to just show that in terms of leadership that you are able to, I think the first thing we check out in leadership skills also you're able to take instructions, you're able to follow instructions, so that when you follow instructions, you can also lead others to do the same thing. Leadership skills is something that is built up also in graduate placement. There's also sessions, many companies offer sessions like that as well. But the key thing about that is just making sure that you're assertive, you are able to present yourself in a way that will make everyone understand that you're in it for the job and not just there just because you want to just tick the box. Can I go to the next slide, please?
Yep.
So in terms of challenges, I mentioned earlier on that competition is one of the key challenges that you would face in graduate placement schemes. There's a lot of graduates that are entering the workforce annually. Of course, the competition is quite intense. And over the last few 1 or 2 years, or rather since after COVID, it's just increased the number of people looking for jobs. And right now we're at a stage where we have less jobs and more applicants applying for roles. And also lack of work experience. Again, I mentioned lack of work experience. Many entry-level jobs require experience, creating a paradox with fresh graduates, because there's no experience to match up the qualifications you've got. And with the increasing competition, it's always very difficult for graduates to get into or get graduate placement roles in companies as well. Unemployment, significant portions of graduates always end up in roles that they don't require degree or temporary appointments. Usually this is a stopgap for a lot of graduates, really, but we find that increasingly a recent survey showed that a lot of graduates are doing roles beneath their level that don't require a degree. And I think that's just because they want to make ends meet. And of course, there's regional disparities. So we've got some jobs, most of the jobs within London, lots of jobs are available as against maybe roles in other parts of the region and in other parts of the country as well. So we have people that would want to work probably based outside London, but are quite interested in jobs in London. So there's that problem of how they can manage relocating to the UK, to London rather. But the problem with London is the cost of living is so high. So that creates a barrier as well. So it's also something that a lot of graduates tend to struggle with. So in terms of the high competition, what I would say is apply early. That tends to reduce the competition because you've given yourself way ahead of time. If you try to apply for graduate placement jobs quite early, you stand to get an advantage. And then if you can gain experience through transferable skills, volunteering and internship, that might help with the lack of work experience as well. Joyce mentioned quite a lot on internship, but I think it's also another thing that works quite well alongside graduate placement as well. So again, John is going to help to put a lot of links in the chat on the relevant links that you can actually check for graduate jobs and graduate placement. And I'd say try to get yourself abreast with those sites. Start to look at them now. If you're interested in graduate placement, start looking at those now. Well, I think the next set of graduate applications will be due in August. So this is a good time to start exploring companies, areas, sectors that you think you'd want to do your placements with. Can I have the next slide, please?
Yep. Conclusion.
So, thank you. So in conclusion, what we're trying to say here, we've mentioned internship, we've mentioned graduate job placement. The key thing to take about here is building your skills. Very crucial. Networking, preparing well in advance with your interviews, seeking ideas, being proactive and applying strategically. So don't just apply in random. Really make sure that you're looking at what you want to do, looking at what you want, what your career look like, and then following that. What I would say is have a roadmap. Think about what you want to do. Do you want to do a career job place? Do you want to do a graduate job placement, or do you want to do direct entry? Either way, you need to really think about what you want and then make a road plan for it. Decide what option you want to take. Graduate placement in the UK is dynamic. It's one of the best way you can get into a workplace and follow your career path. It's brilliant. It affords you the opportunity to learn, get coached, get mentored. And I kind of emphasize how important that is. What I would say is look around you, start to do your research, start to work on it, think about it. If you haven't given it a thought at all, do think about it. It's a very good avenue to improve yourself. And hopefully at the end of it all, you'll be able to get what you want in terms of your career. I think that's all from me. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. It's been an amazing time talking to you all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Monica, for that session as well. And then that was another brilliant session. Thank you so much for your time today. So we'll go into a session of Q&A very briefly, next 10 minutes. Does anyone have any question you want to ask? Some practical questions for Joyce, for also for Monica, also for Mina as well, who is our intern, a young graduate who just got the job. Does anyone have any questions you put on the chat? I think it's a time to do that, so we could have some more practical questions around how we're getting on with our job search. I'm sure there are a lot of people looking for roles now, and you might be having some challenges. So feel free to type it on the chat. Feel free if you want to ask a question directly. You can remove your mute. You can make it or mute yourself, then ask the question to any of the speakers today, even to a young graduate who just got the job, Mina, as well. Feel free to do that. Do you have any questions? Someone said, first question says from Jeremiah, he says, question, do you need a profile on your CV? Is it essential? You mean a profile? You mean profile? You mean like a profile summary? I think that's what he's trying to say, right? When you have a CV, you have like your details, then you now have like a profile summary. So that's what he's asking. Do you need a profile summary on your CV? Who wants to attend to that?
Yeah, I think you do. And I'm sure maybe Joyce can have something to add to this, but you do need a profile. To be fair with you and to be really honest, sometimes that's all the hiring manager reads because they don't have the time to glance through the rest of it. So it has to be, that's why I said it has to be impactful. It has to be relatable as well. The first thing hiring managers go to is your profile statement. So that's the key. If you miss to get their attention with that, you probably won't have them scroll into the rest of your CV. It's that profile that attracts their attention that gives us the grade to actually go and read the rest of what's on your CV. So I said definitely a yes. It's an important aspect of your CV, and I wouldn't recommend that you miss that out.
Yeah. The question says, how can I align my intern with entrepreneurial theories? So that's from Animation. How can I align my intern with entrepreneurial theory? So I'm assuming the person doesn't have work experience. He's trying to say, how do I align my what I've learned maybe in school with trying to get an internship role? Possibly that's what he's trying to say. Joyce, do you want to have a stab at that? You're mute. So that was that question. How do I align my intern with entrepreneurial theories? Favor is asking about volunteering. Do you just volunteer to any organization, or only the organizations who give certificates?
Okay. So for the first one, I don't quite understand the question, to be honest. How
I
do I?
think it's how do I align my intern with entrepreneurial theory? So I'm assuming, and I'm not sure you can explain further, but I'm assuming he just has entrepreneur. I don't know what the person reading in school, but how do I put myself so that way to get an internship role? Maybe I only have theoretical experience, maybe not practical experience.
I see. So if you have entrepreneurial experience and you want to do an internship, it can work as long as it aligns with the place you're applying to. So it can work that way. That is the short answer for that one.
Yeah. About volunteering, do you just volunteer to any organization or only organizations that give certificates?
No, so you don't need the certification, to be honest with you. And not many organizations give you a certificate for it. What you need from them is for them to back you experience-wise. And so it's very important for you to look for volunteering opportunities that align with what you want to do in the future. You can't just volunteer anywhere. I've known people that volunteer in churches, but they work in the office and they do administration. And when you work in administration, you learn all the photocopying bits, you learn how to like answer phones, you gain customer service skills from there. Okay. That is the level of volunteering. A lot of churches that I know do not pay you for that. Just go like, oh, brother, this, sister, that, would you come in, and do whatever. But they will still give you a reference to say that you worked with them. So you can't
Yeah.
volunteer anywhere. Volunteer where you're going to get your skills recognized and then compensated via reference.
Yeah. Okay. Another question says, can one go to fashion school and get a job?
You can get a job anywhere.
Yeah, that's a simple answer. Another question from CJ Ofulue. He says, I have been told I have a great CV and I have several years of work experience and qualifications, but I haven't been able to secure an interview or a response. Is this something else I'm missing? She says, I have a great CV and several years of experience and qualifications, but I haven't been able to secure an interview or a response. Is this something I am missing? So CJ Oflue, can you your question, it could be anything. Let me have a stab at that. It could be anything. You might think your CV is great, it might not be great. That's one thing again. You might think that, but there could be something wrong. Your CV cannot be great and you have good experience and you're not getting interviewed. It's very unlikely that will happen. But if that is happening to your case, something is not being done right. And what about your LinkedIn? Is your LinkedIn up to speed as well? That's also something you need to take into consideration also. Are you tweaking your CVs when you apply for jobs? Don't just apply blankly. Do you tweak your CV? Do you use AI to tweak your CV to align with roles you're applying for? So it's not just having a blanket CV and just apply for new jobs. No. Ensure your CV tweaks your CV. Use AI to optimize your job search. It goes a long way to help you get interviews. If you want further chat, I'm happy to have a chat with you after the call. Favor is saying, I'm a final year nursing student in Nigeria, hoping to work in the UK. What are the technical skills that you would suggest I attain? That's an interesting one. We don't have anyone with nursing university here, but I think from my knowledge, if you're working in the you want to come to the UK, once you complete your program, the first thing you need to do is to go to apply to join the UK Nursing and Midwifery Council. There are some certain certifications you need to have. Once you pass and get those certifications and you write your IELTS exams, once you have those two, you can start applying for jobs straight away, for jobs in the UK, and ensure you have your CV done properly well. Just apply for jobs in NHS trust and some private hospitals, and you have a good chance of being called for an interview. So once you have your background, your work experience, your education experience, and that's all you need. But just ensure you have your certifications at the Nursing and Midwifery Council. I think that will be a long way. Okay. Oluwade says, is it possible to get a CV template structured for UK jobs? Monica?
Yes, a CV template, we can always arrange for one and send across to the chat group or to the group. But there is specific, like for instance, for templates for UK, I don't know what country you're talking about, but for UK, there's some personal details we don't put on CVs. We don't put where we're from, we don't put sex, we don't put anything that would make us be subject to an unconscious bias. We won't put that on. So it's just being mindful of that as well. I think that's about the major difference that we would have. And also, it depends on what sector or what area you're looking to get a job in. Some sectors and some jobs are actually technical specific, so it'd be good for you to emphasize and highlight the technical skills. And some might just be that they want your soft skills highlighted or your experience. With UK, I think experience tends to rate higher than even in some cases certificates and qualification, depending on the role, depending on the sector. So it's slightly different as regards to that. We can help to put together a template, a dummy template that you can use later and put it up to the group and cascade it around.
Yeah, CJ Oflue, I see your comment as regards you've done several posts and you also use AI as well. Let's have a chat. Feel free to reach out to me. Maybe tomorrow. Let's have some conversation a bit more and let me have a look at your CV. I think that let's do that way, Oflue. I'm sure I'll be able to help you in that regard. Another question from Aaron saying, you're saying use AI to tweak your CV. Do you mean using ChatGPT? So ChatGPT is, I think I'm saying using JobScan. JobScan is a better one to use to help to tweak your CV. ChatGPT is very commonly used these days. So a lot of recruiters are beginning to know how ChatGPT works and the common languages. So my advice is to use JobScan. So go to JobScan, download it. It will help you to tweak your CV. I think it's a much better tool to use for job optimization or CV optimization. Okay, Aaron. Favor is asking, I really do appreciate if we can get a sample of a CV or a template for a health sector. Favor is asking that for a health sector is quite broad. It could be anything in the health sector. So it all depends on what you do, what you currently do right now, what you're trying to achieve. It's a very broad template. But I tell you what we'll do. We'll put in our LikeMinds email address. Feel free to drop me an email. I'm happy to have more conversation with you, or happy to send you a template to that effect. I'll put in my email address to the in the forum. I think the LikeMinds email. I'm happy to send you template. I think that would be helpful for you. Chidera is asking, hello John, you mentioned you give tips on how to improve one's LinkedIn profile. Yes, I think if you look at the chat, Chidera, I think we've already pasted something in the chat already in terms of steps to optimizing your LinkedIn profile. If you look at it, there's some steps. If you follow that steps, Mina pasted it earlier on, you won't go wrong. Have a look at that. And there's some very key things you put there to help optimize your LinkedIn profile. So we're getting to the end of it now. So Daniel is asking, it was mentioned that it is recommended to post content on CV. What kind of content would you suggest posting? I know this is a kind of question that you ask ChatGPT, but I would like to hear human input. No, I think it only meant LinkedIn. So Daniel's asking, it was mentioned that you recommend you post content on LinkedIn. So what kind of content do you want to post on LinkedIn to drive in traffic to your page? You're saying, so that's what he's asking.
I think first of all, what you need to find out is what interests you as a person, first of all. And when you find out what your interests are, then you're able to share. So whatever will showcase your skill and your achievement, don't forget you're a job seeker, you really would want one. So share your experience as a job seeker, for instance. If you've applied for roles that you feel that, or you feel you've had an experience that you'd want to share with other job seekers, do that. But again, also talk about your profession as well, what you're getting out of it. If you've done any new skill enhancements, training, create a post on that, create a content on that. That would really be good. Let people see what training you've done. Let people see what you experience out of it. And also invite people to comment as well. What that would do is show people that you actually do know what you're doing and you're actually on the right trajectory as well. Also, anything that will showcase your achievement, any achievement whatsoever, create a content on that. You want to be attractive, you want to create a strong brand. Achievement is a good way. If you've achieved something, or you've whatever, no matter how small, but it's almost like doing a gentle bragging. You've actually achieved something and you want the whole world to hear about it and see how good you are. Put it in there, create a content on that. If you're on a learning journey, if you have thinking of increasing your knowledge and your skill in a particular area, create a content on that. And if you create a content on that, invite people for their opinion, for their thoughts. And what that does, again, it just shows how in tune you are with what's going on around you, in tune with your career, in tune with what you want for yourself as a person. So yeah, these are the examples of the kind of content you can create. And again, if anyone has created or if you've liked any comment, feel free to just put one or two words as well. Just like for liking's sake. Just actually add something in there as well to showcase that you have a knowledge of what the person is talking about. And that would also help too.
Yeah, thank you. See if there any other question. I can't find a job scan, so I'll just send something to the group. Disregard the other one I sent. It was the link is too long. I think there's a job scan link there, which you can just pick up from there, also on LinkedIn. So I'm sure there's any question. There's no other question I can think. So I'm going to share details of LikeMinds. So I'm going to put it on the also on the chat, and so I will send information about LikeMinds, who we are. Feel free to reach us. So LikeMinds is an African professional forum in the UK. So we are aim at providing support support to Africans in diaspora by way of networking, career development, and idea incubation. And we have a strategic vision to support mostly Africans in the UK, especially those who have immigrated to the UK and trying to find their footing, trying to break into the industry. And we set up this network roughly 17 years ago. And I think we've helped over hundreds of people in terms of their career path in securing that first breakthrough, and they remain with us all this while. So I will share a bit about. I'm going to share in the group just about LikeMinds, about who we are, our website, email address, and a bit about our LinkedIn page. Feel free to join our link if you want any question around the careers, or you want a copy of the slides, or you want anything around. Feel free to drop us an email. Our email is there. I put it on the chat. And also our LinkedIn page. Also, we have a functional WhatsApp group. If you feel that you want to think you can be a part of LikeMinds, and you want to be part of LikeMinds, drop us an email. We will definitely respond to your email with more conversation. If you need support as further to what we discussed today, also drop us an email. We're happy to respond to your email, and we will go from there. On this note, I want to say a huge thanks once again to Joyce, Joyce Banjo. Thank you for your time, and also Monica. Thank you for taking time. Also to Mina, congratulations on your new role, and I wish you all the best in your career. I want to thank everyone who has joined in today's webinar, sticking with us for this 1.5 hours plus. Thank you for your time, and I wish you all the best in your careers. And I hope that you secure your dream job that you so desire. Right. So thank you once again, and have a very good evening. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you. I can say thank you for the chat. So thank you. You're very welcome. We will have more webinars in the course of the year. So just stay tuned and you listen to more LikeMinds webinars coming forth. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining. Have a very good evening.